अब हम आज के पहले वक्ता का स्वागत करते हैं जो आज हमारे साथ वर्चुअली जुड़े हैं, डॉक्टर मनोज कुमार, एडिशनल सेक्रेटरी, लेजिस्लेटिव डिपार्टमेंट। सर, वी रिक्वेस्ट यू टू काइंडली शेयर योर थॉट्स ऑन द थीम। सर।
गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन। क्या मेरी आवाज सुन सकते हैं आप?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
थैंक यू। वेल, गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन। माय कोलीग फ्रॉम द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ लॉ एंड जस्टिस, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ जस्टिस, श्री सुरेश कुमार जी, प्रोफेसर मीना पानीकर फ्रॉम दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी, प्रोफेसर पी पुनीत फ्रॉम Center for the Study of Law and Governance, Jawaharlal Nehru University, colleagues from the Ministry of Law and Justice and other departments, colleagues from the legal fraternity, and distinguished participants who have joined virtually today. It is an honor to join you for the commemoration of the 76th Constitution Day. In particular, through this webinar focusing on challenges of upholding constitutional principles. Friends, there are few subjects as foundational and as deeply connected to India's journey as a constitutional democracy. The Constitution of India is not merely a statute. It is a moral compass, our collective promise, and our charter of national transformation. It captures India's transition from colonial rule to people's rule, from arbitrary authority to democratic accountability, and from being mere subjects under a regime to a citizens in republic. Friends, we are living through one of the most transformative phases in India's history since our independence. Technology is reshaping how we work, how we are governed, and how we communicate like never before. Governance structures are being tested by complex cross-border challenges. Citizens expect justice, transparency, and efficiency like never before. And we in India have set it a target for ourselves, an ambitious national milestone to achieve a Viksit Bharat by 2047. Well, my regrets for the pause. There was some very pressing engagement. We'll continue from where we paused for this moment. So I was saying, in such times, constitutional principles are not merely historical reference points to reflect on what has happened over the last 75 or 76 years. They serve as anchors of stability, guardrails for institutions, instruments of inclusion, and ethical foundation of development. Without constitutional discipline, rapid change may lead to disorder. Without constitutional morality, power may lose direction. And without constitutional guarantees, development may become uneven or exclusionary. Thus, examining the challenges of upholding constitutional principles may guide us on the way forward to shaping India's destiny over the next 25 years. Before addressing or reflecting upon some of the challenges, let us remind ourselves of the constitutional pillars that define our republic. The first being constitutional supremacy. Constitution is the supreme law. It defines the limits of power and ensures that no authority, however high, can place itself above the law. Then we have rule of law. Laws must be clear, predictable, fair, and equally applicable. The rule of law protects individual liberty and ensures that governance is based on reason, not arbitrariness. We then have separation of powers under the Constitution and the institutional balance. The legislature, executive, and judiciary are equal pillars. Each must work independently but collaboratively with mutual respect for constitutional boundaries. We then have one of the most important pillars of a constitution, protection of fundamental rights and social justice. The constitution guarantees liberty, dignity, equality, and protection from discrimination. It directs the state to create opportunities and remove barriers so that justice becomes a lived reality. These principles, my friends, are not theoretical. They are living commitments meant to guide every decision we take, every institution under the Constitution, and for the benefit of every citizen. Let us now examine some of the challenges which we may need to navigate on our journey to a Viksit Bharat at 2047. The challenges we are going to discuss now are essentially revolving around law and justice. First of the challenges being ensuring rule of law in a rapidly changing society. Today's society is changing faster than the speed at which the law can cope up or law can keep pace with. Some illustrations on this: artificial intelligence transforming decision making, cross border data flows challenging jurisdiction, new forms of financial crime and digital fraud, dynamic economic models emerging in fintech, gig work, and e commerce, and rapidly shifting social behavior. The rule of law requires that laws evolve without compromising fairness or constitutional morality. A modern justice system must therefore be anticipatory, technology aware, responsive, and grounded in due process. We then have the issue of protecting fundamental rights in the digital age. The digital era has expanded freedoms but also exposed citizens to multiple vulnerabilities. Let's look at some of them. Citizens in today's age are exposed to privacy violations. They're exposed to pervasive data collection. They're exposed to algorithm bias. They're exposed to online misinformation. They're exposed to digital exclusion and emerging surveillance technologies. All these challenges need to be reconciled on how a balance can be achieved in ensuring that the citizens' rights promised under the Constitution are not at stake and are safeguarded. Fundamental rights of privacy, equality, free speech, and dignity must be reinterpreted for a world where technology mediates everyday life. We must strike the right balance between liberty and security, innovation and accountability, free expression and responsible digital behavior. Let's move on to the next issue: bridging social and economic inequalities. The Constitution promises social, economic, and political justice. Inequalities in various areas need continued focus to be dealt with. Access to quality education, access to courts and legal aid, access to healthcare, gender equality, digital connectivity, and economic opportunities. Development and justice are not separate, they reinforce each other. The next issue is very close to an area of work which we collectively handle: speedy and affordable access to justice. Delayed justice weakens faith in the Constitution. A lot of work has been done in this regard, but some barriers which may still need to be focused on to achieve the right objectives are as follows. Overburdened courts need to be dealt with. Uneven distribution of judges, either because of workload or geographical distribution or on various parameters, may need continued focus. Need to unroll complex procedures. A lot of work has already been done in the last 11 years in terms of simplification of laws, deletion of obsolete laws, and of course, altogether removal or reduction of penal consequences on minor offences. But a lot more needs to be done on a continuous basis on our way to a Viksit Bharat. Economic barriers to litigation need to be bridged. For a common person, in many scenarios, litigation is very expensive. So it should not be that a common person has to settle for a definition of justice which is not justice according to them, purely because of or merely because of cost of litigation. Therefore, economic barriers to litigation need to be bridged. Geographical barriers for rural citizens to have equal access to justice as much as a citizen who is differently placed in a better geography. The judiciary has in the past made remarkable progress through their various initiatives and contributions. These include virtual courts, hybrid hearings, e-filing, e-payments, cause list digitization, translation of orders, and pilot projects for online dispute resolution. Needless to say, the Ministry of Law and Justice and its various departments have been supporting and standing up to the occasion at every stage. But the journey is ongoing. Access to justice must be fast, fair, and affordable for every citizen. The next issue is again very crucial. Constitutional literacy among citizens. A citizen is only as strong as the level of understanding the citizen has of his or her constitutional rights, remedies, and obligations. Similarly, a constitution is only as strong as the people who understand it. Yet, constitutional literacy remains to reach the last person in every corner of our country. Many citizens at times are unaware of the rights, their duties, the functions of various institutions under the Constitution or constitutional remedies available to them when they need it. A democratic republic needs a constitutionally informed citizen who participates responsibly and holds institutions accountable. To close, I want to close by saying a constitution survives not by its words, but by the will of the people to defend their words. Upholding constitutional principles is not the duty of any one institution. It is the collective responsibility of the Republic. As India marches towards Viksit Bharat at 2047, as we build a future rooted in justice, dignity, and opportunity to all, let us reaffirm our commitment to the Constitution as our guiding light. The Constitution is not just our inheritance, it is our responsibility, our identity, and our roadmap to a just and developed India. With these words, I thank the Department of Justice for having me here today to share my views. All the best for the deliberations and wish you a very happy and successful 76th Constitution Day. Thank you.
धन्यवाद सर आपके महत्वपूर्ण विचारों के लिए।